Live from President Stadium on the campus of New York Institute of Technology in Old Westbury, New York, this is the 2014 East Coast Conference Men's Soccer Tournament Finals. Today, the number 2 seed LIU Post Pioneers take on the number 1 NYIT Bears for the East Coast Conference Championship. And a good afternoon, everyone. Steve Balson here alongside my partner, as usual, Mike Moore, bringing you our second final in 2 days. The women's final yesterday was outstanding. And Mike, today, 2 teams that meet in, there's no hyperbole necessary, this is a rivalry in every sense of the word.
Absolutely, Steve. They refer to this rivalry as the Battle of the Boulevard. Northern Boulevard separates these 2 campuses by less than 1 mile. And no matter what sport it is that these 2 teams take on one another, there is always a lot of intensity between the student athletes and the fan base as well. But today, a little bit more significance in terms of the importance of this match. The winner gets to be crowned East Coast Conference champions. LIU Post looking to make it back-to-back champions, and the NYIT Bears are in search of their first championship in a couple of years, trying to bring the hardware back to Old Westbury.
2 veteran coaches, 2 teams separated in the standings only by a tiebreaker. 3rd meeting in the finals in the last 4 years. There's a lot of familiarity, and you know what they say about that breeding contempt. We'll take a look at the teams today. First, we're going to take a look at the visiting LIU Post Pioneers, and they're spurred on by the top scorer in the East Coast Conference.
Avon Ospo, last year's most outstanding player, returns and has had a terrific senior campaign here for the LIU Post Pioneers. Steve, as you said, leading the East Coast Conference in goals and in points as well. He is a very dynamic player, and the thing I like about him the most, he is so unselfish, very fundamentally sound. He knows that he's going to be the focal point, and when players from NYIT double team or even triple team him, instead of trying to create the opportunity himself, he has very good field awareness and will set up chances for his teammates as well.
And it's not that often that you can focus on a backline player in this type of introduction, but it's a perfect match to Ospo as we take a look at perhaps the best sweeper in the league residing at NYIT.
Javier Gallardo is the veteran of this Bears team under Carlos Del Cid. He is a graduate student, so he has had plenty of experience in terms of this rivalry. And as you said, being that backline player and the sweeper for NYIT, he creates opportunities offensively, but he also gets the job done defensively, and it'll be very interesting to see how he is able to play one-on-one this afternoon against the aforementioned Avon Ospo.
Beautiful day for soccer out here in Old Westbury, Long Island. The teams are out on the field getting ready for the start of the game. We're glad you could join us, and we hope you'll stick around. This should be a good one. You're watching the 2014 East Coast Conference Men's Soccer Championship Final.
Ladies and gentlemen, the NCAA, the East Coast Conference, LIU Post, and the New York Institute of Technology promote a positive game environment and good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. We do not condone racist, sexist, homophobic, or other discriminatory comments, profanities, or intimidating actions on the basis of one's appearance, identity, or perceived identity, or for any other reason directed at officials, spectators, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives. Any of these actions will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the site of competition. Also, the consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages and the use of tobacco products are expressly prohibited. Be loud, be proud, be positive, and enjoy today's game.
And we are here at President Stadium on the campus of the New York Institute of Technology in Old Westbury, New York. Steve Balson, Mike Moore bringing you all the action of today's championship final as we see the NYIT Bears huddled around for their final instructions. Coming out, the LIU Post Pioneers now huddled around their coach, getting things all ready to go. And Mike, again, there's no love lost with these teams. It should be a very intense battle from whistle to whistle today.
Well, Steve, as we said earlier, this is the third time that these two teams are meeting in the championship match in the last 4 years. This is the rubber match, each team taking one of the previous two head-to-head championship matches between each other, and I think it'll be very interesting to see a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings going on. As you said, no love lost between these two institutions, and you want to hope that everybody keeps, in check and cool heads prevail, because physicality is definitely going to step up between these two teams as well, and it's just going to be a very exciting match as the crowd continues to file in here on Championship Saturday.
Boy, that's a great image of the intensity and the focus on NYIT goalkeeper John Rico as he prepares for what will be the biggest game of his redshirt freshman season in the ECC Championship. Again, these teams tied in the conference standings with records of 8-1-1. But it was NYIT that won the regular season. I'm sorry, they tied the regular season matchup between the two right here on this field. It's 48 degrees, a nice, clear, crisp late fall day in Old Westbury. LIU Post will start things up. NYIT is in the home white, powder blue letters and numbers, NYIT for New York Institute of Technology above the number in front of the uniforms. LIU Post in the road green, white letters and numbers, and trimmed in gold, and we are underway with the 2014 East Coast Conference Men's Soccer Championship Final. Quick turnover here, as Gallardo can't keep it in on the sideline, so Post will get a throw in.
Good job there by Dale McDonald going right after Gallardo, challenging him, and I believe that they're going to say that the ball was last touched by the Pioneers.
Yeah, they're changing that up as a foul was called, so it was placed down in play. A little early miscommunication. Rico plays it out of his own area. Post will recapture as keeper Jesper Malmström settles things down wearing the bright orange duds today. Post trying to extend that NYIT group just a little bit.
And Steve, you talk about two terrific goaltenders all season long. Jesper Malmström has a goals against average of 0.90, and between the pipes for the Bears, Jonathan Rico at 0.80. So I think goals are going to be very few and far between this afternoon, but these are two very dynamic offenses who are going to try to create pressure as well on those netminders.
Well, we've seen Gallardo play in the middle, but right now it looks as though NYIT using a 4-4-2 setup, so only two backliners, and Gallardo is out on the wing here on the right, although he has now moved toward the middle in the midfield. Played on the far side. Interception there, chipped up into the box. Malmström stays on his line, but that one's going to run out, as a nice play there by Johan Rundqvist lets it roll past the end line. Bit of a shaky start in the first couple of minutes, each team getting themselves acclimated. But again, Mike, this is a great day for this kind of game. It may be a little chilly right now, but these players are going to warm up in a hurry as they get running out there, and it should be a very, very comfortable day for these players to give it their all.
Well, the MO for both of these offenses is speed, speed, and more speed. And you were talking about the fact that Gallardo early was playing up just a little bit. Carlos De Cid has a tremendous amount of confidence in Alejandro Del Cura and Harvey Hoop on that back line. So that allows players like Gallardo to turn into an offensive type of threat as well, even though he is primarily a focal point defensively also.
And if you're a fan of NYIT, an interesting choice today by Carlos Del Cid in his starting lineup, not starting Alex Barbosa. We're not aware of any injuries, but Barbosa leads the team in scoring, so that speaks to the depth. This ball played in. Malmström misplays it, it's a goal! Malmström came off the line and misplayed it. NYIT is on the board first. It's Gallardo.
Javier Gallardo getting involved here as we see the replay. It seems like a harmless cross down through the left side, and Gallardo was onside. Malmström came out, misjudged it, and there you see Gallardo with a wide open net, buries it into the back corner with the left foot to give the Bears the early lead.
Well, Gallardo is a veteran. You mentioned, Mike, he's a graduate student. He doesn't need to be told twice, but that's why you complete the run, because Malmström was there in plenty of time to make that play. He just missed the ball.
And that's one of those risk-reward decisions on the part of Malmstrom, a very good goalkeeper. He decided to come out, but just simply misplayed that opportunity. It was a beautiful through ball that went to Gallardo in stride, and Javier Gallardo, the player that we focused on for NYIT in the Open, gets the Bears on the board 4 minutes in.
Again, they utilize the field turf here at President Stadium at NYIT, so the conditions are nothing short of optimal here for this championship contest. And right away, it's NYIT catching the break, and no one better than Gallardo to finish on that first goal. Post now trying to answer quickly as Ospo takes a spill on the far side, and we have our first stoppage of the day. Referee Rafał Sudzik. Let's see if he's going to issue a warning or if he's going to pull out the book. Having a little chat there with Gonzalo Barroso. Not pulling the card just yet, but again, this is something that we've seen even in the first meeting of these teams. A couple of late red cards issued in the overtime session. Right now, there's an opportunity for LIU Post about 7 yards outside the penalty area.
See if Ruiz takes the shot straight on.
Ruiz does take the shot straight on, and it's right into the hands of Rico, who dives on it and holds. That's a good first touch for a goalkeeper, and Rico getting his hands on that one easily. A lost opportunity there for the Pioneers, who trail 1-0 in the opening minutes of play in half number 1.
And this is exactly what NYIT was looking for here, Steve, in this rivalry renewed this afternoon, playing on their home field. They are unbeaten here at home this season at 8-0-1, so they continue to have success on their home turf, and it's really sending a message to LIU Post as the defending champions are in an early deficit here, 1-0.
This cross set to the far post, headed away at the back line by Forgard. Johannes Forgard, there are two of them, and they both made their impact in the semifinal contest that got LIU Post here. We'll touch on that in a moment as that cross is played calmly, that time by Malmstrom.
Yeah, Steve, the Pioneers were actually trailing 1-0 at home on Thursday against Dowling College, and then they came up with 3 unanswered goals combined by the Forgard duo to come away with the victory to get to championship Saturday.
Yeah, Per Forgard had 2 goals. Johannes added 1, and odd to see the Pioneers put up a 4 spot and not have the name Ospo in the middle of the mix, but that was the case. NYIT advanced via a convincing 3-0 victory over Malloy. Both of those games, even though LIU Post was trailing that semifinal contest at halftime, they had decisively outplayed the Golden Lions, and finally when the first goal broke through, they came in bunches as battle on here at the midfield. Post with control. You see each team stepping up aggressively as that's played by Fuente on the left side.
Well, that's a sign of a championship team, Steve. They fell behind at home, but like today, their backs are against the wall, and they were able to just keep their composure, not change their plan of attack, and then they got some opportunities that they were able to take advantage, and then just like that, they were able to come away with the victory. So there's no sense of urgency right now on the part of LIU Post. I think they're going to continue to go with their game plan entering this match today.
Ball played down to the near side now. Here's McDonald. McDonald trying to slide through traffic, but that's played neatly by Gonzalo Barrosa. And a foul called here on LIU Post. And again, referee Rafał Sudzik going to the whistle. You can bet there's been a charge here to keep this game in control, especially early. You don't want to pull out the book that early in a championship game, but as long as the players behave, I believe he'll let them dictate matters on their own. Header into the box is played loose. Opportunity here for the Pioneers. A shot is deflected as Per Forgard's shot is knocked away. Believe that was Del Cura who got a piece of it.
And that's a good recovery there by Del Cura. Forgard had a potential nice look at the goal mouth, but Del Cura came in and was able to knock it away on the deflection.
Well, despite the early deficit, Post has done a solid job of retaining possession. NYIT trying to counter, but again, a bad pass is turned over and Post at the midfield line. That time it was Arvidsson who couldn't control, but he does get it back to Johan Rundqvist. This time it's played over the sideline, so a bit of a sloppy play there. Turns it back over to NYIT. We're about 7 minutes into play here. An early goal by Javier Gallardo has given the NYIT Bears a 1-0 lead.
That goal by Gallardo, Steve, is 4th of the season, point numbers 13 and 14 as well. Now he's second on the team in points behind Alex Barbosa, who leads the team with 16.
And is on the bench. Again, if you joined us late, Barbosa, for reasons we haven't been given yet, on the NYIT bench to start, so it has not harmed the Bears at all here in the early going as Post tries to find the answer. We didn't get to talk very much about the team's records. LIU Post comes in with a record of 14-3-1 overall, while NYIT is 13-2-1. Post ranked 22 in the nation. And as Mike mentioned earlier, an NCAA bid automatically goes to the winner of this championship match, although both teams certainly have excellent chances to make a postseason appearance. That ball's played wide on the far side. Also, LIU Post has won the last 2 conference championships, so Carlos Del Cid in his 14th season, one of the veteran skippers in this conference, you can be sure that he wants to bring that trophy home to Old Westbury today.
Both teams came in the top 8 in the NCAA East Regional rankings that came out this past Wednesday. NYIT was number 5 and LIU Post was number 4. So based on that, you would think that no matter what happens here, each of these clubs has a very good opportunity to get berths into the NCAA East Regional Tournament next week. But that's not what these teams are thinking about. It's all about the hardware and the bragging rights in this rivalry, and the Pioneers want to keep the trophy down the road in Brookville, and NYIT wants to bring it back and put it into the trophy case here in Old Westbury.
You can't short sell Andreas Lindberg in his 5th season. Well, he's had a little success at LIU Post, hasn't he?
That's very safe to say, and I was talking to him earlier this afternoon, and I was telling him how terrific a season his team has had thus far, and it's been through an amazing amount of nagging injuries as well, and that just shows the depth and the balance that this team has. They haven't been healthy all season long. His original starting lineup has really not been playing together since the middle of September, so it just shows why he does such a terrific job in the offseason recruiting players to this program at LIU Post, and why this team has such an unbelievable amount of depth top to bottom on their roster.
Osbo in front of his teammates on the bench, plays it back. Again, a nice step up there for the turnover by NYIT. That was Wilson in the middle. Nice through ball played. Malmstrom off the line. Oh, away is Gallardo, and again, Gallardo jumping forward, and Malmstrom didn't quite get to it in time. A bit of a softer touch, and Gallardo may have made this 2-0.
Good opportunity again there by Gallardo. Malmstrom came out, and Gallardo was able to get the touch past Malmstrom again. Almost beat him, but he was a little too far to his left, and this time, instead of getting the angle like he did on the goal that he scored earlier, he ran out of room, and it allowed the Pioneers to get a goal kick.
Gallardo is listed as a defender. We've seen him play defender, and he has been very aggressive moving forward today. He has the only goal of the contest. We played just over 10 minutes. Post now with control, settles things down. Here's Seb Baxter.
Steve Gallardo, one of 7 players on the NYIT roster that are natives of Spain, and talking to Carlos Del Cid when they had senior day a couple of weeks ago here at NYIT, a lot of those senior players that were being honored in their final home match here at President Stadium, they refer to that group of Spaniards as the Spanish Armada. So the leader of the Spanish Armada, Gallardo, is off to a fast start here today.
Such an international flavor at the Division II level, as a lot of players come over from other countries. But when you have a core, there is a certain national identity that a lot of countries have when they play the sport. And it is very helpful to have a lot of players on the same page. So when you get people from, someplace like Spain that is a very formidable soccer power, it can only be a good thing. Just in terms of cohesiveness, it gives your team a core to work from as a foul is called, and that will give the ball back to Post. Post has had more of a Scandinavian flavor in recent years.
But again, that gets back to the testament of just how good these programs are and how well coached they are, and how important it is to try to bring international players to these respective institutions. And that's a testament to Carlos Del Cid and Andreas Lindberg. These players, I'm sure, are being recruited by many teams in Division II, and they have the privilege of being able to play here for both NYIT and LIU Post.
NYIT threatening, well defended there by Runquist, and that's not so well defended as Runquist commits the foul. Getting up a little slowly, but none the worse is Ben Wilson.
Wilson is a playmaker as well. He's kind of under the radar in terms of the offensive reduction for NYIT, but you could see on that play there where he drew the foul, he's very good in terms of ball control and trying to set up his teammates. He drew the foul there, and it gives an opportunity now here for Gallardo on the free kick.
Potentially dangerous free kick here as Gallardo about 28 yards out. Post setting up along the top of the penalty area. Headed away in the box nicely. Play on, says the official.
And that was the first time we actually saw the two players that we mentioned in the open going out each other in Gallardo and Ospo on that collision.
Well, maybe a bit trite, but the best defense is a good offense, and Gallardo has helped NYIT control on the front line thus far. Nice ball played into the corner. That may run. And Guillermo Fuente tries to let it go, but it's challenged and finally sent over the sideline.
Good hustle there by Per Forgard. Fuentes was trying to cut off the angle and then have the ball go out of bounds for the goal kick, and Forgard was able to get in between the ball and the player there and keep it in bounds temporarily, but it does go back over to the Bears.
Again, if you joined us yesterday for our women's final, we have a whistle on the play. Let's see if the official is going to stop the clock again. No, he doesn't. But again, just wanting to keep it under control is Mr. Sudzik doing a nice job of that here early on. Our women's final yesterday saw the Mercy College Mavericks win their first ECC Women's Soccer Championship. They defeated the University of Bridgeport by a score of 1-0. And they play on that same type of field turf that we're seeing here. If you're not familiar with it, this shot comes from outside. We'll get back to that in a moment as that's sent well over the bar. It is basically ground up rubberized tires, and it plays well. It's not as fast as it may look, but it stays in great condition, and more schools are going to it. Seems to be easier to maintain. It holds up a lot better over the course of the year, and sometimes I think some of the players are expecting the ball to run a little bit more than it is. It actually doesn't look to be playing that quickly.
And the one thing that it also does sometimes for the goalkeepers, it creates a couple of tricky hops on the shots that are taken on one hop towards them. They always have to try to do their best to secure those saves and not create rebound opportunities. And so far, these goalkeepers, you could see, have done a very good job in terms of corralling shots that have been taken on against them.
Matthias Ruiz called on the high foot there, a little bit of a tentative whistle. The ARs for today's game, Victor Vasquez and Jorge Fleitas. Fourth official in the middle of the table. That's not employed in every game, but it's great to have another set of eyes between the benches, and you can see him on the far side, right in front of the scorer's table there, is George Ivanigo. And he's got more authority than you might think. He can hear what's going on at the benches, keep the teams in check. A little bit of a flop taken by Gallardo there. It's the second time he's gone down.
And Steve, that's a great point that you made earlier, the fact that, you know, the officials come in here and they have the honor of being a part of this championship match. And I'm sure they get together pregame and know the implication and know the rivalry and want to maintain control. And you don't want to have the officials kind of take over the pace of play here, but they also have to make sure that, you know, everybody stays injury-free and the level of physicality does not step up too much. And I think they've done a pretty good job so far in keeping control of the pace of the match.
Still early on, just over 16 minutes played. NYIT with the early goal in the first 3 minutes of action has a 1-0 lead. Post holding back as that's an errant ball sent out over the sideline by Ivan Rico. Arvidsson plays back. Dangerous little step there, but he got away with it as Arvidsson now has it.
Steve, you have to like the patience that LIU Post is showing here. They look up at the scoreboard, they see they're down 1-0, but they know that they can score very quickly here and try to get the equalizer, but it's not really a sense of panic on their part. They're just being very patient and trying to switch fields and create opportunities.
Gallardo sends a nice ball to the near side, and that shot is shanked by Iavino. Dominic Iavino hit that off the inside of the right foot and skidded it wide of the left post. So Gallardo again distributing, and creating an outstanding opportunity. Sorry, that was not Gallardo. Check that. That was Ruiz.
Perfect through ball on the replay, and Iavino in stride was trying to go far side against Malmstrom, who went to his right, but it was a little too far out of bounds for the goal kick.
So NYIT, with those penetrating runs, have created some opportunities, as the first goal was misplayed by Jesper Malmstrom in the post net.
You have to give credit to the defensive unit and the game plan of Carlos Del Cid and the Bears thus far. We haven't seen many touches by Avon Dospo early in this match.
Yeah, you see number 9 right in the middle there, and the game is going on around him right now as he sticks in and doesn't come away with it. So NYIT with possession as Harvey Hoop sends it back. Koto changes the field. A lot of room now on the bench side. Boy, Gallardo stuck an arm out there on the throw-in. Be silly to get a card for something as simple as that, but you can issue one. Here's Koto. Changes the field back to the near side for Hoop.
You can see the Bears here just trying to play keep away and set up, and they're doing a good job in terms of their ball control and just being patient and spreading the offense out, trying to set up in the attack zone.
Post in a strong defensive posture, but we've seen already what NYIT is trying to accomplish by just finding that seam, open the field up a little bit and get a runner heading through and play him on a through ball. This one's played back for Rico, Jonathan Rico. Not to be confused with Ivan Rico. Not a lot of challenge coming forward by LIU Post. And I think this speaks to what we've been talking about throughout the day, Mike, that these are just two experienced, poised teams. They're not going to let an early goal in either direction bring them out of what their game plan is.
Well, the approach seems to be working thus far for both sides, and like you just said, Steve, Andreas Lindberg knows that his team is down 1-0 here, but he's not changing his plan of attack, and he knows that the opportunities will be there. And the other thing is to just make sure that you continue to play aggressively on the defensive side and keep the deficit at 1.
Post really sloughing back on defense and packing it in, and now they're going to try the counterattack as here comes Ruiz. Ruiz steps past Hoop. Stepping up and going down hard with Seb Baxter, but he gets up okay. There's a through ball played. Rico is out of his crease and chests it down nicely as Dale McDonald was making a run, and Jonathan Rico knew he couldn't get to that ball in the penalty area, so he chested it away nicely.
That's a great play there by Rico. McDonald was onside, so it was a potential one-on-one opportunity, and Rico came outside the 18-yard line box, had the wherewithal to know that he couldn't use his hands, corralled it off of his chest, and was able to get the clear. Aggressive play there by the redshirt freshman.
We have an injury on the field, player down for NYIT. We'll see if we can get an ID on that for you as quickly as possible. And as the clock stops, it is Ben Wilson.
Steve, you like the confidence there on the part of Rico. That's another snap decision that a goalkeeper has to make, and not only did he come out aggressively, but he had to have the mindset knowing that he was not going to be able to use his hands. That's what goalkeepers are all about, and when a player like Dale McDonald, another graduate student, coming in with a lot of speed onside, that could have been an opportunity there for the Pioneers to get the equalizer. Good job on both the part of Jonathan Rico and Dale McDonald.
Yeah, boy, Rico, we got to watch him go through his pregame machinations there, and he's clearly well intense and into this game. He has been outside of his box for a good portion of the afternoon. You could tell that if he had the opportunity, he'd want to go up and take a strike at one on the offensive end. Again, Post this time starting to draw out of the defensive shell just a little bit. Still not really challenging NYIT.
And you can tell that the Bears aren't sitting on this lead. There's just a ton of time left in this match. But if they're not going to be challenged, it's wise for NYIT to just keep possession of the soccer ball and not force the issue. If you're not going to have an opposing player come on, then just keep spreading the ball out and have that clock continue to tick down.
Well, what Post is trying to do is they're trying to shrink the field as we see them run a 4-4-2. They've got their back line coming up, setting up the trap, bringing Tech's forwards back to the midfield area and really shrinking the area that they have to play the ball. Probably only giving them about 25 yards with which to play. Tech trying to separate it now as here's a through ball. And again, that's the way you're going to try to play it, but it's tough to make that run. The ball needs to be almost perfect, or you need a mistake on the other team, and that's what caused the first goal of the day.
Well, they were looking for Ruiz there on that through ball, but it just went too far in front of him, and aggressively making the easy save there was Malmstrom. You know, Steve, I like the fact that Malmstrom is remaining confident as the netminder here for LIU Post. He is one of the main reasons why the Pioneers are in this championship match. And, you know, sometimes when you give up a goal that you wish you had back early, it might get inside your head just a little bit. And he seems to be okay thus far since.
Well, again, this is a team that's won the last 2 conference championships, so there is a pedigree there. But as the minutes tick away, if this score remains as such, that starts to weigh on a goalkeeper in any sport, to know that, boy, I hope that's not the one that decides it. And again, we go back to yesterday's women's final where Mercy defeated Bridgeport 1-0. And, you know, there were people saying at halftime of that game it was scoreless. I just want it to be a good goal. And it certainly was a terrific goal that gave Mercy the win as a corner kick is coming up here as Hoop is pressured and sends it over the end line.
And we were talking earlier about the fact that these netminders each have a goals against average of under 1. That one goal might be the difference. And Jonathan Rico, in his 10 victories this season, 5 of them have come via the shutout. So we'll see here now on this corner kick opportunity if the Pioneers could get a good scoring chance.
Jason Lampkin taking the first corner of the day, and that one's headed out of danger. Back to the top of the box, it's Arvidsson, but a whistle on the play. And the clock has stopped. I believe that's Guillermo Fuente who's down.
And off of that corner kick, before the whistle was blown, heading the ball away was Javier Gallardo. So, you know, Gallardo being the complete player that he is, Steve, he gets the early goal offensively, but he is such a defensive-minded player as well. He knows that he has to try to do his best to get that clear, and he was able to do so with the header before the injury was stopping play here.
Fuente gets up slowly after being tended to by his teammates, holding his lower back, as you see. Of course, if the trainer comes out, he's got to come out of the game. Doesn't mean that he needs to be substituted for. You can keep it as is and play a man short. Fuente wants to stay in, of course, and he will shake it off. Didn't see what happened in the mix there in the penalty area, but Fuente went down, drew the foul, and now NYIT will start things up. Just past the midway point of half number 1. Glad you could join us. Steve Balsa, Mike Moore on hand at President Stadium on the campus of NYIT, New York Institute of Technology in Old Westbury. The NYIT Bears, the number 1 seed, hold a 1-0 lead over the LIU Post Pioneers on the strength of a Javier Gallardo goal in the opening minutes. Again, we see Post sagging into that defensive posture. True test of patience, especially for the home team. And you're going to have to play the ball on the back line like that and just pick a spot. And that, I think, might be what Post is counting on.
You know, the other point, too, about this matchup, Steve, is that these two teams are so familiar with one another. You feel like that you know what their approach is going to be as the match moves along.
Foul committed there. The foul was committed by Ivan Rico, and it may have been a little bit of frustration as Rico moments earlier went down and thought he should have drawn a call. Instead, the official let them play on, and Rico, with a bit of retaliation that time, got whistled for it. Bears have it back nonetheless. Gallardo now sends another through ball to no one in particular, and Malmstrom picks that one up easily.
The thing I liked on that pass attempt by Gallardo, right before that, Ben Wilson had the ball. He saw he was being challenged and immediately on the one-touch pass gave it back to Gallardo. So you know, when you have those one-touch give and goes, it stymies the defense because they're not being able to decide as to whether they're going to defend one player or the other.
And there you see a big difference in the strategies today as NYIT puts some more pressure on the Pioneer back line, although they do manage to break it. And Matthias Ruiz comes forward. Now he turns it over, and we'll see if the Bears can generate anything in transition. They decide to pull it back as Wilson hands to the back line, and that's where the Bears want to generate their offense from, and Post seems content to let them.
And you just saw Ben Wilson. He was right at the midfield stripe. He saw that there was not many options offensively, and he sent it back all the way to the back line, and he signaled to his players, let's just be calm and slow down here and continue our pace for this match.
Yeah, it almost seems as though Post in a situation like that is daring NYIT to go into a transition game, run up and down the field, and maybe open things up a little bit for Osbo, who has been really invisible over the first 25 minutes of play.
And number 7.
And if that is the plan for Carlos Del Cid, I'm sure he is very happy to see the result thus far.
Well, it's a good example of it there, as you just indicated, that Wilson had a chance to turn the ball upfield and perhaps catch Post out of their shape a little bit. Instead, he decided to play it calm, send it back, and slow down the offense as that one's tapped out. Johan Christensen has just checked in for LIU Post. Here's Ruiz in traffic. Who comes away with it?
That was a good job last play on that by number 3 for LIU Post, Seb Baxter. Iavino thought he might have some room on Baxter. Baxter cut off the angle and then had it knocked off of Iavino last, getting the throw into LIU Post.
Just in the game, there's Johan Christensen, number 7, trying to create a little bit more pressure. But again, the Post is just making a show run and then pulling right back. That long ball is headed in on net, and Malmstrom, again, coming away with it easily.
And that's the first time today we've really seen Malmstrom go with the outlet pass instead of the booming kick downfield. So we'll see if that is the approach now that maybe LIU Post is looking for to get some opportunities using their speed.
Long ball played down the field, intended for Alfred Lindberg, who also came in on that last substitution for Post, but he can't track it down. Now it's corralled back near the midfield line by Ruiz, and he'll send back to set it up.
And you'd have to think, if you're NYIT, that you could only contain this dynamic offense of LIU Post so much, and that, you know, you have the 1-goal lead. You can't sit on that lead and be conservative, because sooner or later you'd have to think that the Pioneers are going to find the back of the net with this team that is really stacked offensively top to bottom.
And you saw that last sequence. A couple of nice one-touch passes by LIU Post, gained a little bit of ground, but in the end there was just another dead end there, and it was sent out by NYIT. So Post is retaining possession, but just really not getting a lot of good looks at the cage right now. Double team in the far corner and a forearm to the back by Per Forkard. And right now it's just good, solid defense by NYIT that's preventing the Pioneers from gaining a foothold. That ball a little dangerous in the box, but cleared out. Nice touch there, and here come the Bears on the run.
Great ball control there by Carlos Cotto.
Yeah, and again, though, with the chance to run, he turned it back and passed up an opportunity for some transition. Here's a through ball played for Lindberg. Lindberg can't run it down before Rico does. So Post that time trying to play through, and the fresh legs of Alfred Lindberg not enough to get there before Jonathan Rico.
And Steve, like we were saying before, how Ben Wilson did not really see an opportunity and brought it back. I think that time Cotto may have second guessed, and he could have created a potential odd man opportunity downfield, but I think if he looked back, he might have thought otherwise in terms of the decision that he made. But it was a conservative one, and you know, the Bears had possession and they still have the 1-goal lead.
Yeah, and I think going back to the play that Wilson made, you know, it almost looked like he was very quick to send the ball back, and you could see right there as Cotto with the transition opportunity, just playing it back. They really want to be patient and spread out this LIU Post team. See the little touch there in the midfield area. Perhaps some danger here for Tech as they probe the defense. Here's Hoop. Wilson in the midfield. Gallardo. Gallardo marked quickly by Runquist. And here come the Pioneers, and a nice step in there. Ball comes loose. Wilson sends it back, and Wilson gets run over. And we will see if David Arvidsson draws the first yellow card of the game.
Captain for LIU Post, David Oswald, going over trying to plead his case in defense of trying to prevent a booking taking place here on Arvidsson, but it is to no avail.
Well, Wilson had his back.
A yellow card has been issued to number 2, David Arvidsson.
Arvidsson giving the official a piece of his mind right there. Very interesting to see a player reprimand an official.
Yeah, I was just going to say that he has to be very, very careful there. He was jawing at the referee.
Something Andreas Lindberg is going to want to be careful of, because you certainly do not want to have to play man down in a contest like this for something like dissent. As it was, Arvidsson ran up Wilson's back, and that's what drew the yellow. Long ball played to the corner for Hoop. He's challenged by Baxter. Baxter comes away with it nicely and sends it toward midfield.
Seth Baxter has really had a solid first half defensively for LIU Post. Hoop came up off that back line and thought he may have had the opportunity, and Baxter was able to cut off the angle and get the clear. Nice job there by Seth Baxter.
And just saw Ospo get ahead on that long ball and try to send it back, so he's still trying to set up his teammates, but right now that's one of the few touches that he's had in the first 30 minutes of play. Again, Ospo, the ECC leading scorer with 15 goals on the season. The next highest scorer had 10.
The New York Institute of Technology, number 23, Alex Barbosa.
And again, just talking about the depth of this Pioneers rosters, if the focal point is on a player like Ava Ospo, and deservedly so, you have someone like Dale McDonald right behind him, 9 goals and 4 assists, second on the team in points with 22, and he leads the team in shots with 60. So you have to always remember about Ospo. Let's not forget about Dale McDonald as well.
That is so true. It's very easy to key on one player like Ospo. Right now, the Post offense has been virtually non-existent in this first half. The last substitution for NYIT, we mentioned earlier, Alex Barbosa. Well, he just checked into the game, so nice when you can bring your leading scorer, your leading goal scorer off the bench for the last 15 minutes of a half, and we'll see what Barbosa brings to the table for the Bears, who turn it over now in the midfield area. Here come the Pioneers on the run. Nice through ball played by Billington. Big opportunity here on the right side. Run into the box. The shot is cleared off the line. Still loose. A header is cleared away. That was Billington with a header, and a beautiful bicycle kick clears it off the line.
And it was Del Cora there. Rico was beat, and it was a wide open net. Del Cora was able to knock away the first attempt, and then another clear the second time. Boy, a huge, huge play there for NYIT, as the Pioneers were oh so close to getting the equalizer.
Boy, out of nowhere that threat came, and 2 or 3 really dangerous opportunities for the Pioneers to tie this game up before halftime, but coming for naught. Boy, you know, the ECC's come a long way in recent years, Mike, but we got to ask Bob Dranoff if we can get that goal line technology that they used in the World Cup. I'd love to see that one from above. Great opportunities there, and as you mentioned, a tremendous play by Del Cora to clear that ball.
And Steve, as you were saying that too, you could see a lot of the Pioneers players were putting their arms up thinking that it should have been a goal scored. Now we have Ospo getting a little frustrated as the clock will stop here. I'm sure that comes back a little bit to that near miss for the Pioneers just a couple of minutes ago.
Rafael Sudzik allowed David Arvidsson to have his say. He doesn't really want to hear anything from Evan Ospo right now. And
that's a good job there. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve, by Johan Rundqvist trying to keep Ospo in check. He does get credited with the yellow card there, but you know, Rundqvist trying to say to him, look, we need you here. I know there's a lot of emotions going on, and he still was given the yellow card.
And that's exactly what you followed. The point, Mike, was that now your captain is starting to show a little bit of frustration out there. And again, boy, if you have to take a yellow card in a game like this, that's not the one you want to take. Maybe there was something physical involved that I didn't see, but if you got it for jawing at the official, boy, that's just a tough one. And now Ospo is charged with some leadership opportunities as we see Gallardo offside on the run. And you know, maybe now a little bit of frustration with falling behind early and then having that tremendous scoring opportunity cleared away as we remain 1-0.
And something really must have happened there. Ospo is usually cool as a cucumber. He's been the leader all season long and in his entire career here at LIU Post. So obviously there was a little too much that took place, and he felt it should not have gone against him there. And you rarely see a player like Avon Dospo, the leader and the captain of this team, get a yellow card.
Well, and also for followers of ECC soccer, the NYIT team is known as a feisty bunch, and their games can get physical in a very big hurry. So it's the kind of game, again, where a lot of things can happen out there, especially off the ball. You don't know if it did or didn't. Maybe something was said. Part of the game plan sometimes is just to try to get into your opponent's head, and there may be a little of that going on as well.
Steve, like you said too, it hurts LIU Post because it's basically a yellow card that's issued for arguing with the referee, and now a player like Osbo may have to be a little bit less aggressive because he has to make sure now that he doesn't get another card in this match.
That ball was missed on the header by Barroso, but it rolls in to Jonathan Rico, who will play out. We approach the 10-minute mark remaining in half number 1, with the NYIT Bears holding a 1-0 lead. Again, the winner of this game gets an automatic bid to the NCAA Division II tournament, although both teams are very likely to have their ticket punched.
And I'm sure as the match moves along here, we'll get a look at that replay on the great scoring opportunity for LIU Post. Del Curro basically saving the day for the Bears to keep this at a 1-0 advantage.
Dangerous cross there, but no one making the back post run as Gallardo was a little late. Interesting to see Barroso on the back line as well. Well, shape of this game has changed a little bit. We're not seeing that defensive posture as that one goes out on the far side, each team calling for it, but the decisive vote goes to the team in white. Substitution coming in now for NYIT. We'll get that for you as soon as we can.
For the New York Institute of Technology, number 12, Jaime Gomez
Gardon
replaces number 17, Dominic Iovino.
Dominic Iovino, you may have heard, to the bench.
Steve, getting back to that scoring opportunity for LIU Post, obviously we don't have NCAA rules where you have the cameras inside the goal, but I really think from our vantage point it was a good call by the official. The ball never really seemed to cross the line. It just seemed oh so close for the Pioneers. They were right there knocking on the door, but they could not cash in. But from here, it looked like it was a good call by the referee.
Yeah, and of course our broadcast position out near the midfield line, it's a very tough angle to see, but there wasn't a lot of argument put up from LIU Post, so I don't really think there's a dispute as to whether that ball was in the net or not, as Hoop with a body block on Matias Ruiz. Nonetheless, Tech gets the throw in as Wilson plays it up the middle and has it taken away.
I think Wilson, last minute, changed his mind. He was looking to pass and then took the shot instead.
Once again, here are the Pioneers on the run. This is how they were dangerous last time, coming up the right flank. And that time, stepping into the way was Guillermo Fuente. And Fuente now giving Mr. Sudzik a piece of his mind.
And here's a good chance for LIU Post, Steve. A good look on this free kick opportunity from just outside the 18-yard line for Matias Ruiz. Let's see if he takes the shot straight on or if he tries to chip it over the box. You see Osbo here on the left side. Maybe he could try to get it over to him. He has to make sure that he stays on side, but it looks like he might try to get it over the wall and try to get the shot on.
Three-man wall set up, and that one is parried over the bar by Rico. A nice save there by Jonathan Rico, straight off the set piece.
And Billington was the one who took the shot. As we see the replay coming up here, Billington had a great look as he set up here. Wasn't sure if he was going to take the shot or not. Then he backs up and he sees that he's going to create the opportunity straight on the free kick. Fires a left-footed shot, and Rico is able to get a piece of it and punch it over the crossbar. His best save of the match thus far.
So the Pioneers now with two outstanding opportunities to get this game tied. We remain 1-0 as a corner kick, the second of the half, is going to be taken by Johan Christensen. He puts it toward the back post, and that's Wilson in a pile of players who just tips it away. And that shot just deflected wide.
Barbosa was down there for the Bears. I think he got up in the air also to create the deflection. And then off of the rebound, another good look for LIU Post, who is really knocking on the door here late in the first half. Steve trying to pick up the equalizer, and the Bears definitely dodged a bullet there.
That was Arvidsson who put that one just left of the post. Not sure. It looked like it might have changed directions. If it did, it hit an LIU Post player because Tech was given the goal kick. Here's Gallardo coming from an offside position to head it back for Wilson. Wilson chips it into the box. Dangerous play, and the flag is up and offside.
Beautiful crossover to Barbosa, and he was able to get the headshot on, but the flag went up for the offsides violation. But you like the way Barbosa was aggressive here coming off of the bench. The Bears leading goal scorer and leading the team in points as well.
Well executed offside trap there by the Pioneers. The dangerous Barbosa almost had the opportunity. So after a fairly passive first 35 minutes or so, business has picked up here on Long Island.
And you can see there on that through ball, Christensen was trying to get to the pass attempt, but he had to stop dead in his tracks because he knew he would have been called for the offsides violations. That's a good job on the back line by NYIT.
A little bit of a challenge put on there by Gomez Bardon, but it's Arvidsson coming away with it. Approaching the 5-minute mark of the first half. Gallardo's goal is the only marker to this point. Now we're starting to see the team settle back into that more traditional pace that we've seen throughout the first half.
And again, NYIT just being patient with the soccer ball here, not even thinking about moving the ball up if they're not going to have any sort of challenge on the part of LIU Post on the defensive side of midfield, and it just allows them to keep this clock winding down as we enter the late stages of this first half.
Well, again, for that first 30-plus minutes, it looked like Andreas Lindberg's philosophy of being very passive in terms of challenging NYIT wasn't bearing any fruit, but they have gotten some big chances in the last few minutes and just not been able to convert. One played off the line and one terrific save by Rico.
You can see off of the foul called by NYIT there, LIU Post was trying to run quickly, showing some speed.
And again, there's that run on the right side. And I believe that's Mateus Ruiz. Nope, Ruiz is in front of us. See if we can get a number on that for you. But that right side run has been very productive for Post, as Johan Christensen, who was the late sub-7, not 17, has been a real factor, bringing some nice speed to that front line.
Well, we mentioned that this is a very fast team. Both teams are extremely fast in terms of the offensive line, but especially LIU Post. And they're starting to show it here in this first half as it winds down.
First time you really get the feeling that the Bears have been on their heels in this contest, as the Pioneers now begin to control the play. Trying to generate the equalizer in the final 3 minutes of half number one. Going down late, and again, a stoppage in play. And the LIU Post bench, you could see the chirping signs going up, not liking some of the talking going on from the NYIT side.
I think Andreas Lindberg there was pleading his case, saying that Fuentes took a bit of a dive there on that foul called against LIU Post.
Let's go, Post! You gotta pressure everyone!
And Per Forgard was having a few words being given to him by the referee following that foul call. So physicality has definitely stepped up here late in this first half of play, and you wonder how much that will carry over into half number two as well.
Well, and again, we talked about NYIT. They're a feisty bunch, perhaps a bit of a reputation for theatrics as well, and that is part of the game. If you can get away with it, as a scoring opportunity there is sent wide to the left.
Barbosa got a good look just inside the 18-yard line, and I think he was trying to go to the left of goalkeeper Malmstrom, changed his decision last minute and shot the attempt wide to the right instead.
Again, Barbosa should have fresh legs just coming off at the 15 minutes left in the half. That one sent out by the Post bench.
See if the Pioneers, Steve, can get one last offensive push here before the half comes to a close. An attempt to pick up that equalizer. Some of their back line players are coming up just a little bit offensively.
Boy, again, there's that nice run on the right side as Johan Christensen creating havoc, but it's played out And NYIT will get the throw, and Post trying to lock in as we're inside 2 minutes. That one's headed out by Forgard.
Bears in no rush here, allowing that clock to tick down and just trying to get a clear here before the half. LIU trying to force a giveaway in the attack zone, create one more last run here offensively.
Again, players go down at the midfield area as Rundquist called for the foul.
And again, after every whistle that is blown, the call that goes against either NYIT or LIU Post, those players having that call go against their favor have some choice words for the referee. Those officials have those rabbit ears, Steve. They have to be careful, those players on the field.
Always been fascinated, again, the international nature of Division II soccer in this area. So many different languages going on out there that sometimes ignorance might be bliss on the part of the referee. As here's Tech with a late run. Gallardo trying to chase it down on the far side, can't do it. Post will try a quick counterattack in the final 30 seconds of the first half. That one's mishit, but it serves the purpose. Taking a few more seconds off the clock. Battle now in front of the NYIT bench. Throw in issued to Post, so Johannes Forgard
10,
looking for pair.
9, 8,
Nothing's going to come of that as we're in the
6,
final 5
5,
seconds.
4,
And that's going to
3,
end the first half
2,
of play.
1.
45 minutes in the books here at President Stadium in Old Westbury, New York, where the New York Institute of Technology Bears, the #1 seed, leads the LIU Post Pioneers by a score of 1-0. An early error on the part of goalkeeper Jesper Malmström is the difference, as Javier Gallardo was on the spot and put it home. And here's a look at that play that was cleared off the line. What a tremendous play to keep this a 1-0 game.
Well, that play really is the difference as we take a look at some of the first half highlights. A golden opportunity here also on the free kick by Alex Billington. Best save of the match here by Rico as he punches it away over the crossbar. And, you know, as the half winded down, a lot of pressure being put on by LIU Post, but that stingy defensive unit for NYIT and Jonathan Rico, the netminder, were able to do a good job in keeping this a 1-0 lead in favor of the Bears at the break. And here is the goal that we had on the first half by Gallardo. As you saw, Malmström misplaying it, and Gallardo in the right place at the right time was able to cross it over into the back of the net to give the Bears a lead, and that was the lone goal and the difference in the first half of play thus far, as we see what adjustments both coaches and teams will make as we get ready for the second half of play this afternoon here in Old Westbury.
Yeah, a couple of good opportunities for each team as Gallardo had another chance dribbling around Malmström to the left just a few minutes later, but the ball ran over the end line on him. And of course, we saw late in the final stages of half #1 as LIU Post with some tremendous opportunities cleared off the line. Each team registering 7 shots in the first half. 1 save each, and the one by Jonathan Rico standing out as one of the plays of the match thus far, and only a pair of corner kicks taken, both by LIU Post.
And Steve, if we can have the guys in the truck maybe just show that replay one more time of that golden opportunity for LIU Post, we'll see what a great job that was done there by the Bears' Alejandro Del Cora. It was definitely the best opportunity of the match for LIU Post to try to pick up the equalizer, and Rico was beaten. And that's why this NYIT Bears team is such a good team on their back line defensively, because it wasn't for Del Cora getting the first deflection and then the second deflection right on the goal line, this match could be all square at 1. But thanks to the help of Del Cora and his netminder Jonathan Rico, that was the greatest scoring chance that LIU Post had in the half, and the end result was Bears stepping it up defensively and keeping this a 1-goal lead.
What will the future hold? Will the LIU Post Pioneers, the #2 seed, rally for their 3rd straight East Coast Conference championship, or will the #1 seed NYIT Bears hold serve and win the third title in the reign of Carlos Del Cid. We have at least 45 minutes more to find out. We're going to have a lot more action coming up for you. Mike Moore, Steve Balson on hand with you. You're watching the 2014 ECC Men's Soccer Final. We're at halftime, where the score is the NYIT Bears 1, the LIU Post Pioneers nothing. This is the ECC, the place to be for the very best in Division II sports. We're going to step aside, take a brief timeout, and then we'll be back to have all the action for you. This is the East Coast Conference. The East Coast Conference is committed to excellence both on and off the field. Member institutions are active in supporting their communities through service and fundraising projects, and our student athletes work hard to achieve in the classroom, preparing themselves for success after graduation. The ECC, home to 21 national championship teams, currently provides 17 championships in 10 sports and is committed to creating a positive game environment for all. The East Coast Conference, a proud member of NCAA Division II.